Have you ever felt uneasy around someone without knowing why? Do certain people make your skin crawl even when they're smiling? These feelings might not just be your imagination. What if the person next to you harbors malicious intent? What if their charming facade hides a heart filled with deceit and manipulation? In a world where appearances can be deceiving, identifying the signs of an evil person becomes crucial for our mental and emotional well-being. Think about the friend who always seems to twist every situation to their advantage, or the colleague who never hesitates to lie just to get ahead. What drives them to act this way? And more importantly, how can we protect ourselves from such toxic influences? These questions are not just idle musings. Recognizing the signs of a bad person can help us navigate our relationships more safely and avoid unnecessary harm. Imagine constantly being manipulated without realizing it, or finding out too late that someone you trusted is incapable of empathy. These scenarios are more common than we might like to admit. Evil doesn't always come in the form of a villain from a movie. Often, it lurks behind the mask of a friendly neighbor, a charming partner, or a seemingly trustworthy friend. Consider the person who seems to enjoy watching others fail. They might laugh off your misfortunes as jokes or downplay your successes, making you feel small and insignificant. This is not just casual rudeness. It's a sign of something far darker. People who take pleasure in the suffering of others are dangerous, and recognizing this trait is the first step in protecting yourself. Manipulative behavior is another glaring red flag. Have you ever noticed how some people can twist any situation to make themselves look good or to get what they want, regardless of the cost to others? They might use guilt, flattery, or outright lies to bend you to their will. This kind of manipulation is a classic sign of a bad person, one who sees others merely as tools to be used. A lack of empathy is perhaps the most chilling characteristic of an evil person. Empathy is what makes us human. It's our ability to understand and share the feelings of others. When someone lacks this basic trait, they can cause immense harm without any remorse. They might dismiss your feelings, trivialize your pain, or even mock your suffering. This indifference to the emotions of others is not just a minor flaw. It's a fundamental warning sign of a deeply troubled individual. Consider the habitual liar who effortlessly weaves a web of deceit. They lie about big things and small things, creating a false reality that serves only their interests. Trusting such a person can lead to betrayal and heartbreak. Their constant dishonesty erodes the foundation of any relationship, leaving you questioning what is real and what is not. Lastly, think about the person who isolates their victims. They subtly or overtly drive wedges between you and your loved ones, cutting you off from your support system. This is a calculated move to make you more dependent on them and less likely to leave, no matter how much they hurt you. These signs, manipulation, lack of empathy, enjoyment of others' misfortune, constant lying, and isolating victims are critical to recognize. By being aware of these traits, you can better protect yourself and those you care about from the harmful influence of an evil person. Remember, recognizing the problem is the first step towards finding a solution. Stay vigilant and trust your instincts, because they might just save you from a world of pain. Manipulative behavior is a clear sign of an evil person. This trait involves a constant effort to control or influence others for their benefit. often at the expense of the people around them. Manipulative individuals are skilled at making others do what they want, using a variety of tactics that may not always be obvious. Imagine someone who always seems to get their way, no matter the situation. They might use guilt to make you feel obligated to do something for them. For instance, they might say things like, "If you really cared about me, you would do this." This is a classic manipulation tactic that plays on your emotions to achieve their goal. Another common tactic is flattery. Manipulative people often shower others with compliments to make them feel special and valued. This can make you more likely to do what they ask because you feel good about the attention. However, once they've gotten what they want, the flattery often stops, revealing their true intentions. Manipulators are also adept at twisting facts and situations to suit their needs. They might present a story in a way that makes them look like the victim or the hero, regardless of the truth. By distorting reality, they can influence how others perceive events, making it easier to control outcomes in their favor. They may also use intimidation or threats, though this is often more subtle. Instead of direct threats, they might imply that there will be negative consequences if you don't comply with their wishes. This can create a sense of fear or anxiety, compelling you to act according to their demands to avoid potential repercussions. Ultimately, manipulators are focused on their own needs and desires, with little regard for the impact on others. Recognizing manipulative behavior is crucial because it allows you to set boundaries and protect yourself from being exploited. Trust your instincts and be wary of people who consistently try to influence your actions for their own benefit, as this is a strong indicator of manipulative behavior. Lack of empathy is another significant sign of an evil person. This trait means they show no genuine concern for others' feelings or well-being. An empathetic person can understand and share the emotions of others, which helps build strong, healthy relationships. However, someone who lacks empathy is indifferent to the feelings and needs of those around them. Imagine being in a difficult situation and turning to a friend for support, only to find that they don't seem to care. They might dismiss your feelings, telling you to get over it or stop being so dramatic. This dismissive attitude shows they are not truly interested in understanding or helping you with your problems. Instead, they may view your struggles as an inconvenience or a burden. People who lack empathy often focus solely on themselves. When you share your experiences or emotions, they might respond with stories about their own lives, showing little interest in what you're going through. This self-centered behavior reveals their inability to connect with others on an emotional level. Another example is when someone hurts you, but they don't apologize or try to make amends. Instead, they might blame you for being too sensitive or overreacting. This refusal to acknowledge your pain demonstrates a lack of empathy. They cannot or will not understand how their actions affect you, making it impossible for them to feel remorse or compassion. In relationships, a lack of empathy can be particularly damaging. It leads to a lack of support and understanding, creating an environment where one person's needs are consistently ignored. This imbalance can cause significant emotional distress and make you feel isolated and unimportant. Recognizing a lack of empathy is essential for protecting yourself. Pay attention to how people respond to your emotions and needs. If they consistently show indifference or a lack of concern, it may be a sign that they lack empathy. Being aware of this trait can help you avoid unhealthy relationships and ensure you surround yourself with people who genuinely care about your well-being. Constant lying is a hallmark of an evil person. This behavior involves telling lies frequently, regardless of the situation or the consequences. People who constantly lie create a web of deceit that can be extremely harmful to those around them. Imagine a friend who lies about everything, from small details to major events. They might lie about where they were, what they did, or even how they feel. Over time, it becomes difficult to trust anything they say because you never know what's true and what's fabricated. This constant dishonesty erodes the foundation of any relationship, as trust is essential for healthy connections. A person who lies frequently often does so to manipulate situations in their favor. For example, they might lie about their accomplishments to gain admiration or fabricate stories to make others look bad. These lies are not harmless. They are calculated attempts to control how others perceive them and to maintain a favorable image. Constant liars also use deceit to avoid responsibility. When confronted with their mistakes or wrongdoings, they might lie to shift the blame onto someone else or deny the incident altogether. This refusal to take accountability can cause significant harm, especially if it leads to others being unjustly blamed or punished. The impact of constant lying extends beyond individual relationships. It can create a toxic environment in social or professional settings. When someone is known for lying, it fosters an atmosphere of distrust and suspicion. People become wary of sharing information or working closely with the liar, fearing deceit and betrayal. Recognizing constant lying is crucial for protecting yourself and maintaining your peace of mind. Pay attention to inconsistencies in stories, frequent changes in details, and patterns of deception. If someone consistently lies, it's a strong indication of their character and a sign that you should be cautious in your interactions with them. Ultimately, constant lying reveals a fundamental lack of integrity and respect for others. By being aware of this behavior, you can better navigate your relationships and ensure you surround yourself with honest, trustworthy people. Enjoyment of others' misfortune is a disturbing sign of an evil person. This behavior involves taking pleasure in seeing others suffer or fail. While most people feel empathy or sadness when others experience hardship, someone who enjoys others' misfortune has a fundamentally different and troubling reaction. Imagine a coworker who laughs or smirks when you make a mistake. Instead of offering support or understanding, they seem to relish your discomfort. This reaction is not just insensitive, it indicates a deeper problem. People who enjoy others' misfortunes are often driven by envy, resentment, or a desire to feel superior. This behavior can manifest in various ways. They might spread gossip or rumors to damage someone's reputation, and when the target suffers, they feel a sense of satisfaction. They might also go out of their way to create situations where others are likely to fail, enjoying the chaos and harm that follows. This intentional sabotage shows a complete lack of regard for others' well-being. Another example is when someone takes pleasure in your setbacks or struggles. Instead of offering a helping hand, they might say things like, "I told you so," or "You should have listened to me." This gloating behavior demonstrates their delight in your misfortune. They are not interested in helping you improve or recover. They are only focused on their own sense of superiority. This enjoyment of others' misfortune can create a toxic atmosphere in any setting, whether it's at work, in social circles, or within families. It breeds distrust and fear as people become wary of sharing their successes or challenges, knowing that someone might be secretly hoping for their downfall. Recognizing this behavior is important for your emotional well-being. Pay attention to how people react to your failures or difficulties. If someone consistently shows pleasure in your pain, it's a clear sign that they are not a supportive or empathetic person. Being aware of this trait helps you protect yourself from negative influences and surround yourself with people who genuinely care about your happiness and success. True friends and supportive colleagues will feel empathy for your struggles and joy for your successes, rather than the opposite. Consistent negativity is a clear sign of an evil person. This behavior involves a persistent pattern of negative, critical, and pessimistic attitudes. While everyone has bad days, someone who is consistently negative brings a harmful energy to every situation, dragging others down with their relentless pessimism. Imagine a friend who always finds something to complain about, no matter the circumstance. Whether it's the weather, a social event, or even someone's good news, they never have anything positive to say. This constant negativity can be draining and demoralizing, making it difficult to enjoy time spent with them. People who are consistently negative often criticize others harshly and unfairly. They might belittle your achievements, dismiss your ideas, or mock your interests. This criticism is not constructive. It's meant to make you feel inferior and insecure. Their goal is often to undermine your confidence and keep you doubting yourself. Consistent negativity also manifests in how they perceive the world. They always expect the worst outcomes and focus on potential problems rather than solutions. This pessimistic outlook can influence those around them, creating an atmosphere of hopelessness and despair. It becomes challenging to stay motivated or optimistic when surrounded by someone who constantly highlights the negative aspects of every situation. This behavior can have a profound impact on your mental and emotional health. Being around someone who is persistently negative can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and even depression. It's essential to recognize this trait and take steps to protect yourself from its harmful effects. Pay attention to how someone responds to both good and bad news. If they consistently focus on the negatives and bring a critical attitude to every situation, it's a strong indication of their negative nature. This consistent negativity is a red flag that they may not have your best interests at heart. By identifying and distancing yourself from consistently negative individuals, you can create a more positive and supportive environment for yourself. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you, rather than those who bring you down with their constant negativity. This will help you maintain a healthier and more balanced perspective on life. Exploitation of others is a defining trait of an evil person. This behavior involves using people for personal gain without any regard for their feelings, needs, or well-being. People who exploit others see them as tools to achieve their own goals. often leaving a trail of harm and betrayal in their wake. Imagine someone who always asks for favors but never reciprocates. They might borrow money and never pay it back, or constantly ask for help without offering any in return. This one-sided relationship is a clear sign of exploitation. The person is taking advantage of your kindness and generosity, using you to fulfill their needs without any concern for yours. Exploitive individuals often manipulate situations to their advantage. They might pretend to be your friend or ally, only to use you when it suits them. For example, they might cozy up to you to get access to your social network, resources, or knowledge. Once they've gotten what they want, they may discard you without a second thought. In professional settings, exploitative behavior can be particularly damaging. A colleague or boss might take credit for your work, leaving you unrecognized and unrewarded. They might also push their responsibilities onto you, expecting you to carry the load while they reap the benefits. This creates an unfair and toxic work environment where your efforts are undervalued and taken for granted. Exploiters are also adept at playing on your emotions. They might use guilt or pity to get what they want, making you feel obligated to help them. For instance, they might tell you a sob story to get you to lend them money, knowing that you'll feel too guilty to refuse. This manipulation is calculated and self-serving, designed to exploit your empathy and kindness. Recognizing exploitative behavior is crucial for protecting yourself. Pay attention to the balance in your relationships. If you find that you're always giving and the other person is always taking, it's a sign that you're being exploited. Healthy relationships are based on mutual respect and reciprocity, not on one person using another for their own gain. By identifying and addressing exploitative behavior, you can set boundaries and protect yourself from being used. Surround yourself with people who value and respect you and who contribute to your life in a meaningful way. This will help you build healthier, more balanced relationships, free from exploitation and manipulation. Isolation tactics are a major sign of an evil person. This behavior involves deliberately cutting someone off from their support system to make them more dependent and easier to control. People who use isolation tactics aim to dominate and manipulate their victims by isolating them from friends, family, and other sources of support. Imagine someone who constantly criticizes your friends and family, suggesting they don't have your best interests at heart. They might say things like, "Your friends are bad influences," or "Your family doesn't understand you like I do." This undermines your trust in those relationships and gradually isolates you from the people who care about you. Isolation tactics can also involve creating conflict between you and your loved ones. The person might spread rumors, exaggerate issues, or even lie to create misunderstandings and disputes. By causing friction, they weaken your bonds with others, making you more reliant on them for emotional support. Another common tactic is to monopolize your time and attention. They might insist on spending all their free time with you, discouraging you from seeing other people. If you try to make plans with friends or family, they might guilt trip you or create drama to prevent you from going. Over time, you might find yourself increasingly isolated and dependent on them for companionship and emotional support. Financial control is another aspect of isolation. They might insist on controlling the finances, making you financially dependent on them. This financial dependency can trap you in the relationship, as you might feel you have no means to leave and support yourself independently. Social media can also be used as a tool for isolation. They might monitor your interactions, demand access to your accounts, or insist that you unfriend or block certain people. This digital control mirrors their efforts to isolate you in real life, further limiting your ability to connect with others. Recognizing isolation tactics is vital for maintaining your autonomy and mental health. Pay attention to how someone reacts to your relationships with others. If they consistently try to drive a wedge between you and your loved ones or monopolize your time, it's a sign of their isolating behavior. To protect yourself, maintain open communication with your support network and resist efforts to cut you off from them. Surround yourself with people who respect your relationships and encourage your independence. By being aware of isolation tactics, you can safeguard your connections and ensure that you remain supported and empowered. A pattern of irresponsibility is a telling sign of an evil person. This behavior involves a consistent failure to take accountability for their actions, make reliable commitments, or fulfill obligations. Irresponsible individuals often create chaos and hardship for those around them as they prioritize their own desires and whims over their duties and promises. Imagine a friend who constantly cancels plans at the last minute or fails to show up when they said they would. They might have an endless list of excuses for their behavior, but the underlying issue is a lack of reliability. This pattern of breaking commitments can be incredibly frustrating and disappointing, eroding trust and respect in the relationship. In a work environment, an irresponsible person might consistently miss deadlines, produce subpar work, or fail to contribute to team efforts. They might leave tasks unfinished, causing others to pick up the slack and deal with the consequences. This behavior not only disrupts workflow, but also creates tension and resentment among colleagues who have to compensate for their lack of responsibility. Financial irresponsibility is another red flag. An irresponsible person might borrow money without repaying it, make impulsive purchases, or fail to manage their finances properly. This can lead to significant problems, especially if they involve others in their financial woes. For instance, they might ask you to co-sign a loan or bail them out of financial trouble, putting your own financial stability at risk. Irresponsible individuals also tend to avoid accountability. When confronted with their failures, they might blame others, make excuses, or deny the problem altogether. This refusal to take responsibility prevents them from learning from their mistakes and often results in repeated patterns of harmful behavior. Their inability to acknowledge and correct their actions can lead to ongoing issues and conflicts. In personal relationships, this irresponsibility can manifest in various ways, such as neglecting important duties, failing to support loved ones, or ignoring the consequences of their actions. For example, they might fail to follow through on promises to their partner or neglect parental responsibilities, causing emotional and practical harm to those who depend on them. Recognizing a pattern of irresponsibility is crucial for protecting yourself from its negative impact. Pay attention to how someone handles their commitments and responsibilities. If they consistently let you down, make excuses, or shift the blame, it's a clear indication of their irresponsible nature. By identifying this trait, you can set boundaries and manage your expectations, ensuring that you don't rely on someone who is unlikely to fulfill their obligations. Surround yourself with responsible, dependable individuals who respect their commitments and contribute positively to your life. This will help you maintain a stable, supportive, and reliable environment. Entitlement is a significant sign of an evil person. This behavior involves believing they deserve special treatment or privileges without putting in the effort or considering others' needs. An entitled individual often expects the world to revolve around them, which can lead to selfish actions and a complete disregard for those around them. Imagine someone who consistently demands preferential treatment in every situation. They might insist on being the first in line, expect others to cater to their needs, or complain loudly if things don't go their way. This attitude reveals a fundamental lack of respect for others and an inflated sense of self-importance. Entitled individuals often feel they are above the rules that everyone else follows. For example, they might ignore guidelines at work or think it's acceptable to cut in line because they believe their time is more valuable than anyone else's. This disregard for social norms can create tension and frustration among those who have to deal with them. In relationships, entitlement can manifest as a lack of appreciation or gratitude. They may take for granted the efforts and sacrifices of friends or partners, expecting support without ever reciprocating. This one-sided dynamic can leave others feeling undervalued and unimportant, ultimately damaging the relationship. Entitlement can also lead to manipulative behavior. An entitled person might use guilt or emotional pressure to get their way, believing they deserve special favors simply because of who they are. For instance, they might say, "After everything I've done for you, you owe me this," twisting the relationship to benefit themselves while disregarding the other person's feelings. Moreover, entitled individuals often react negatively to criticism or challenges. When faced with feedback or a refusal to meet their demands, they may become defensive, angry, or even retaliatory. This inability to accept accountability further highlights their self-centered nature and lack of respect for others. Recognizing entitlement is crucial for protecting yourself from toxic relationships. Pay attention to how someone reacts when things don't go their way or when they are asked to consider others. If they consistently display self-serving behavior and a lack of appreciation for those around them, it's a strong sign of entitlement. By identifying this trait, you can set boundaries and avoid getting pulled into a dynamic that revolves solely around their needs. Surround yourself with individuals who value collaboration, respect, and mutual support, ensuring healthier, more balanced relationships in your life. Recognizing the signs of an evil person is essential for protecting yourself and maintaining healthy relationships. From manipulative behavior and lack of empathy to constant lying and exploitation, these traits can significantly impact your life and well-being. By being aware of behaviors like consistent negativity, irresponsibility, isolation tactics, and entitlement, you can better navigate your interactions and avoid toxic influences. Surrounding yourself with positive, supportive individuals is crucial for your emotional health. It's important to foster relationships built on trust, respect, and mutual care. By distancing yourself from those who display harmful traits, You create a safer and more nurturing environment for yourself. Ultimately, understanding these signs empowers you to make informed decisions about your relationships and protect your peace of mind. Trust your instincts, prioritize your well-being, and don't hesitate to set boundaries with those who exhibit these negative behaviors. Your happiness and mental health are worth safeguarding, and recognizing the signs is the first step toward a healthier, more fulfilling life.